The facts are that during the 2018-2019 academic school year, Anna Marie Modis was a student member of the Linfield College Board of Trustees. On February 15, 2019, she attended a campus event that was hosted by the Board of Trustees and then a Board of Trustees dinner at Michael Book. At the dinner, one of the trustees, defendant David Jubb, was friendly to Anna Marie, introducing her and two others and pouring her glasses of wine he purchased. After the dinner, a small group planned to meet at Nick's downtown and invited Anna Marie. She felt honored to be included. The defendant wanted to take an Uber and invited Anna Marie to ride with him. As they waited outside for the Uber to arrive, he mentioned ending the night at the Atticus. Anna Marie didn't realize until later that this meant his hotel. Shortly after, he grabbed her in an embrace, pulled her towards him, and put his hands on her buttocks. Anna Marie pulled away and told him to stop. The defendant then went to the bar for more alcohol. After he returned, another trustee noticed the two from the parking lot and thought Anna Marie looked uncomfortable. She drove up and asked them if they needed a ride, and they agreed. When they arrived downtown, they discovered that Nick's was closed, so the group went to the Oak. The defendant and Anna Marie were seated across from each other at a table. Anna Marie felt the defendant bump against her legs under the table. She tried to move her chair away and to the side, but he blocked her, hooking his foot on her chair and pulling her closer. Almost simultaneously, he slid his hand under her dress between her legs and touched her vagina. She got up immediately and said her goodbyes. She saw one of her friends nearby, and the friends called a cab for her. Anna Marie reported the defendant's conduct to Linfield and then to police. During an ensuing criminal investigation, Linfield notified the detective that there had been a prior incident involving Mr. Jubb and a student. The detective investigated this claim and learned the following. Former student, and I'll note for the record, Your Honor, that Ms. Anna Marie Modis has agreed that we could use her name. The other named victims have not, so I'll be using initials instead. Former student A.K. met the defendant at a dinner on May 5, 2017, and he was intoxicated. The Linfield president at the time asked her if she could give him a ride home, which she did, along with her two friends, D.D. and G.G. She learned that he was a donor for one of the new apartments on campus, and he asked for a tour, so she obliged. She, the defendant, and friends then wound up downtown at the Oak. The defendant was consuming alcohol. While at the Oak, he made sexual comments to the students, played footsie under the table, and at one point licked Dee Dee's hand. At this point, they decided it was time to leave, but they felt like they needed to make sure he got home. As they helped him walk, he lowered his hands and touched Dee Dee's and A.K.'s buttocks. The defendant did not want to go home and asked to go to the cabana instead. Dee Dee and A.K. left. The third friend, G.G., continued to the cabana to meet other friends. The defendant joined along. At the cabana, the defendant put his arm around G.G., then lowered it and touched G.G.'s buttocks. After a time, G.G. convinced the defendant that he should go home and walked him to his apartment nearby. While inside, the defendant groped G.G.'s groin area. Over time, A.K. felt compelled to tell the school about the defendant's conduct. She wrote a letter and gave it to the administration. I'd like to read an excerpt of that letter now. She writes, Linfield is a very special place. It is my home and my family for 40 years, and I want it to be portrayed and represented in the best way. I have thought about this night a lot over the last year and the uncomfortable feeling it still gives me, and I don't want any other students to have the same experience. A few days ago, I heard from a friend that the next senior leadership meeting is Friday, and I knew I couldn't wait any longer to put more students in this situation. So I wanted to talk to you so that you can handle the situation as best possible so that all students at Linfield continue to feel safe. She then goes into detail, reciting facts that I just mentioned, and closes in this way. They have been gracious and patient with this process, but they did not ask for any of this, what happened to them, or the circus that followed.
As I said, this was a difficult case. On the way here, I was a little late because I took a different path here, not trying to. But for the first time in my life, I actually drove past the Linfield campus. My mom was a student at Linfield, got her teaching degree many years ago at Linfield. But I had never been by the campus. It's a gorgeous campus. And so hearing the statements of one of the other complaining witnesses about how wonderful that is, and talking to Ms. Modis about how wonderful that is, and Mr. Jubb's experience, lifelong experience with Linfield, it is a beautiful place, and I hate the idea that this case brought any blight on that campus and anyone's experience on that campus. My hope is that with this resolution, it brings a closure to Ms. Modis and the complaining witnesses, and they can go on to live successful and happy lives as the young, hopeful people that they are, and my hope that they do that. And for Mr. Jubb, that the issues that may have brought him to this moment, he can work on, which I know he's dedicated to doing and has already begun, and that everybody can put this behind them in an appropriate way while being held accountable